Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Everyone wants to be stronger, not just physically, but in every part of life. But between confusing workout advice, complicated equipment, and trying to figure out nutrition, where does anyone even start? Well, to get stronger mentally and physically, go to Anytime Fitness. You'll get a personalized training, nutrition, and recovery plan, all customized to your body, your strength level, and your goals. You'll get expert coaching to optimize your results, anytime, anywhere, in the gym, and on the Anytime Fitness app. And you'll get anytime access to 5,500 gyms worldwide, all with the right equipment to level up your strength gains and your life. So get started at AnytimeFitness.com. That's AnytimeFitness.com.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. We are live from Marucci's Hitter's House on Seagan. Muse, Paulie back in studio, Alondra on site, and fired up to be here on a Monday after the Louisiana football team set offensive football back probably a solid century. But we got a ton to talk about. LSU beats Western Kentucky. Saints lose to the Falcons. Kiffin Watch 2025 rolls on. Peter Burns in 1 hour. A ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I have seen a lot of bad football in my life as an LSU fan. Straight up. My earliest memories, like where I can actually tell you I remember watching games, being at games, etc. My earliest memories were amid those 6 straight losing seasons from 89 to 94, the end of Archer, the beginning of Curly Hallman. I have seen blowouts in Tiger Stadium, 58-3 against Florida back in 1993, 55-17 against Bama in the COVID year. I have seen bad offenses in Tiger Stadium. The Anthony Jennings year in 2014 when LSU was 76th in the country, averaging 27 points per game. I have seen LSU play with their food against lesser opponents and even lose some of those games. 2000 against UAB, 2017 against Troy. There's been a lot of good, more good than bad, thankfully. But I have seen bad. Saturday's win over Western Kentucky might be the worst I have ever seen. And I am not into hyperbole, but that was a lifeless, half-empty crowd that was more focused on Lane Kiffin than the game. It was a weird senior day where Brian Kelly's kid put on a shirt with free BK on there and whatever that went viral. You had fireworks after a touchdown that took a 7-3 lead with 1:32 left in the half. You had a couple of hundred morons in the student section with their shirts off, waving them above their head because apparently that's like a viral trend now, when it became even more noticeable because the stadium was empty in a miserable game. You scored 13 points against a Western Kentucky team that gave up 45 to Toledo and 300 rush yards to the Toledo Rockets. And by the way, you ran for only $126 on 37 carries. You kicked a field goal from the 1-yard line. It is literally the shortest field goal attempt possible. 10 yards for the end zone. You go back 7 yards. From the 1-yard line, that is an 18-yard field goal. You kicked the shortest field goal possible in football, and it was the right call, by the way, because it puts you up 7. You threw it 42 times. 42 passes for 202 yards against Western Kentucky. You were 3 of 16 on third down. 3 of 16 on third down. 1 of 3 on fourth down. In this miserable football game, there were 3 straight possessions. Western Kentucky, LSU, Western Kentucky, where the teams kept going for it on fourth down, and none of them converted either of the 3. You kicked a field goal from the 1-yard line. The 1-yard line. And by the way, you won 13-10, and Western Kentucky ran a trick play where their quarterback became a receiver, and he dropped a touchdown. Which, when you look at that final score now, 13-10, you go, oh, man. If your guy would have caught the touchdown, do you lose that football game? Listen, there's obviously the butterfly effect of everything that would continue on if you can't assume all else is the same. But, man, there was something called the Boom Boom T-shirt cannon. I didn't know this was a thing. I haven't been to a game in 8 years. What a game to break my seal in Tiger Stadium. After 8 years of whiskey and wine being away from Tiger Stadium, I went on Saturday night, and I was treated to what might have been the worst experience, both football on field and game day experience, that you can imagine. Mercifully, there's only one more game in this regular season. But the Tigers won. They got to 7-4. And there were, despite all of that, a few cool moments. The 3 Weeks brothers being on the field all together. Listen, LSU's played football since 1893. When you can say you did something that hasn't been done in 130 years of football, that's pretty cool. For all 3 brothers to be on the field at the same time was awesome. And for Witt, I mean, think about what had to transpire for that to happen. Witt had to come back from his injury just to get on the field for a couple of series. And West had to look at last year and say, you know what? I'll sit in November to preserve my red shirt so I can come back. And then Zach had to graduate early to reclass to make that moment happen. Very selfless of those 3 guys in an era sort of defined by me, self-involved decisions. So I love that. Bummer with the injuries, man. Braylon Moore, midfoot sprain. Ori Williams, ankle sprain. You're not going to have either of those guys this weekend. Caden Durham, a neck-type head injury. Cost him the second half. Harold Perkins got a hip pointer but returned. Mansour Delane didn't play in the game. He's dealing with an abdominal issue that, as I understand, having a few conversations today, is something he's actually dealt with this entire season, which makes his season even more remarkable because he's basically just been medically managing the pain to get out there every week. So really remarkable that he's had the season he has in spite of this injury. We'll see if he's out there this weekend against Oklahoma, but he's got a future he's thinking of, and I don't blame him for that. But it was a day in Tiger Stadium that I would like to forget. But maybe it's one of those things where we look at that day in Tiger Stadium and say, that is why you're reaching that level, why this program so desperately needs something like hiring Lane Kiffin. Because hiring Lane Kiffin would cure so much of what was wrong with Saturday night. And I'm not just talking about offensively, which is a big part of it. You bring in a brilliant offensive mind who has proven, look, he's got a team with a Division II transfer at quarterback on the precipice of the college football playoff. And he would immediately cure much of what ails you defensively, or offensively, excuse me. But you also need Lane Kiffin because of the juice, the injection of life he would bring into this program, which had so much of it 3 months ago. And when you think about, just 10 weeks ago, after beating Clemson and rising all the way up to number 3 in the country, what the expectation was for this season, you would have never convinced me that it would end the way that it has for this team. But here you are with one game to go and an even of greater consequence decision this weekend, not what's going to happen with LSU and Oklahoma, but what's going to happen with Lane Kiffin. And obviously, a huge part of the season has been talking about the quarterbacks, and a lot of people wanted to see Michael Van Buren. And the point that I made all throughout the season, listen, Garrett Nussmeier certainly was flawed this year. I'm not here to tell you he was great. But the point I've made is he wasn't your only problem. He wasn't even your biggest problem this year, and that's been evident. You would have anticipated Van Buren taking a step against a much lesser opponent. Instead, the opposite happened. It was a miserable day. Van Buren, receivers, runners, Harlem Berry fumble and scoop and score, the offensive line, play calling, all of it. None of it works. And hopefully this weekend, you're going to get your cure-all. If we get the news that everybody is anticipating that LSU will get, with LSU bringing in Lane Kiffin. But we are still about 5 days away from knowing for sure if that's going to happen. All right, it's After Further Review. Show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with a great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, official beer of the Saints. Hey, if you are, of course, having Thanksgiving with the fam, maybe you're not into red wine or bourbon, whatever it might be. You want some delicious ice-cold Bud Light at your Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday. Make sure you have plenty of it. Get the officially licensed LSU cans as well. The 12-ounce cans, the 16-ounce aluminum bottles. Get them at great local retailers. Drink easy with a great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, we're here at Marucci's Hitter's House in Baton Rouge. Big shout-out to our friends at Marucci. Of course, everybody knows the official bat of Major League Baseball. If you come in during the show today, I got tons of free hats, Marucci hats, all different styles. You come in, you're hearing the show, you come here in Seguin, boom, you get a free hat. I'll sling them out here like Mardi Gras throws. Y'all come hang out with us here at Marucci's Hitter's House. They got a gigantic warehouse sale coming up November the 28th, so that's 4 days from now through December the 14th. Everything deeply discounted. They have their bat trade-in sale right now. Bring in a competitor brand bat. They'll give you 40% off a Marucci bat. You got to come in if you haven't seen Hitter's House. Awesome retail shop. Batting cages behind me as well. Rediscover Marucci and Marucci's Hitter's House if you've never been here. Come on, right here off of Seguin near Airline. You can't miss us. All right, it is After Further Review. Let me knock out a quick break. I'll pivot. We will get to plenty of Lane Kiffin stuff. I know everybody wants to know what we know, what the latest is. We'll follow it. Lane Kiffin did meet with reporters today for his Monday presser. We'll let you hear plenty of what Lane had to say throughout the show today, and I do need to talk about the New Orleans Saints, who, it was a tough weekend, y'all. It was a tough weekend to watch football in this state. It was bad. I mean, really bad. So we'll recap the Saints' loss to the Falcons as well. Stick around with us here. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Y'all, we're moving through November, and of course, getting toward the end of the year. A lot of people may be thinking about New Year's resolutions. Maybe part of your New Year's resolution for a lot of people is lose weight, get in shape, all that sort of stuff. Most popular New Year's resolution there is. Get some help this year or start early. How about don't wait through the holiday to gain weight and be unhealthy? How about you start your health journey now with Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness? Not just Goodwood. Remember, there's Goodwood, there's Unique Physique, and Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. So Goodwood is the men's clinic. Hormone replacement therapy we tell you about all the time. Unique Physique, that's the GLP-1s, right? Semaglutide, tirzepatide, the weight loss injections. And then Unique Aesthetics and Wellness is the aesthetics clinic. Laser, hair removal, laser therapy, Botox, all that stuff. $8 a unit Botox, every day, low price, by the way. Check them out. They're all three in one location on Drusilla in Baton Rouge. And start online at yourgoodwood.com. Again, that's online at yourgoodwood.com.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
Over the head of Taysom Hill. Runs it down and throws it away. Wow. And it'll be 4th down and goal, a disaster for New Orleans.
Oh, God. It was only a matter of time. Oh, that's Adam Amiga and Drew Brees on the call on Fox. God bless. Drew Brees had such an unenviable task. It's so hard to suppress your fandom when you're calling a game, but that's the charge, right? I mean, we know that Drew Brees not only played for the Saints, that's his second NFL game he's ever called, and not only was it a Saints game, but it's Saints-Falcons in the Dome, and they're honoring Jimmy Graham and all the stuff. And so many guys on the team were teammates of his still, Cam Jordan and Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill. And you try so hard to suppress your fandom, but in that moment, he did so well throughout the whole game. And in that moment, the errant snap goes over Taysom Hill's head, and Brees steps on the call and implores Taysom to throw it away. Play it again.
Over the head of Taysom Hill.
Throw it away.
Runs it down and throws it.
Oh, God bless. I thought Drew really did a good job on the call. He'll get more and more comfortable, but he really did, I thought, a very good job, which is what you want from the former player to explain, okay, what are you thinking in the 2-minute drill, and what type of play are you expecting, and with their coverage and all this sort of stuff. I thought Drew did a fantastic job, but that was a moment where you could tell, man, them black and gold, man, them ties run deep, man. It just cut him open to know what he bleeds, but in that moment, it was pretty funny. In any event, the Saints lose to the Falcons 24-10, and Sunday was a sobering reminder of how bad of a football team the New Orleans Saints are. That loss is not all on Tyler Shuck, but he does shoulder a lot of the blame for how that day went. When your offense scores 3 points, you have to look at the quarterback to some degree. He attempted 43 passes, 30 of 43 for 243, averaged 5.7 yards, a rating of 74, a QBR of 33. He was sacked 5 times. He threw a pick, no touchdowns. It was awful. I mean, that was a disaster. An unmitigated disaster. Oh, what a disaster. Let me count the ways. Alvin Kamara fumbling on the first possession when he and Tyler Shuck can't execute a quarterback running back exchange. You had a 75-yard kickoff return from Mason Tipton. Pretty good. And you got no points on that possession because Poopy Groupie missed a 38-yard field goal. Thanks for the laugh, Alondra. Alvin Kamara gets hurt by Caden Ellis on a hip drop tackle. Shades of Devin White doing the same to Jameis in 2021. Foster Moreau with a drop on what might have been the most athletic play of the day by Tyler Shuck when he was being engulfed because his offensive line stinks. He shakes free, rolls right, flicks the ball to Foster, drops it. Oh, by the way, you gave up 5 sacks in this ball game as well. Poopy Groupie missed a 47-yarder as well, so that's 2 kicks inside of 50 yards that Poopy Groupie missed. This should be his last day as an NFL kicker. Enjoy playing in Canada, eh? How bad was this day? You had a 15-play drive that netted you no points. You got into a goal-to-go situation, and Tyler Shuck did not attempt to pass, but Taysom Hill did. You had another 15-play drive that netted you a field goal and the bad snap that went over Taysom Hill's head. Again, Taysom Hill throwing a pass in a goal-to-go situation, not your quarterback who you're trying to build around. And then he was flagged for intentional grounding. Let's see what else. Kool-Aid, or should we call him sugar water, was burned on a 49-yard touchdown by Darnell Mooney. That was Darnell Mooney, if you're wondering. That was his first touchdown of the year. And let me remind you, that was not Drake London. That was not Emeka Ibuka. That was not DK Metcalf. That was not Puka Nacua. That was Darnell Mooney, who burned sugar water, McKinstry, for a 49-yard touchdown to put the game away. You had a 4th and 15, and Dante Pettis catches a dart from Tyler Shuck, 1 yard short of the sticks. No spatial awareness whatsoever to realize that you got to get 15 yards or you turn the ball over on downs, which is what they did. So you had a 15-play drive with no points, a 15-play drive with a field goal, and then a 13-play drive that got no points because of the tip ball interception at the end of the game right there. It was an atrocity. watching that football game on Sunday. It is hard to evaluate Tyler Shuck. Similar to Spencer Rattler at the end of the season last year, because Rattler was playing with what amounted to a practice squad offense. Your offensive line was decimated by injuries. Your top two receivers, Shaheed and Olave, were out. It was just really, Taysom got hurt at the end of the year. It was so hard to evaluate Rattler at the end of the season last year because there was nothing there that resembled an NFL offense. And the same is here. I mean, Luke Fortner is your center instead of Eric McCoy. Instead of Taliesin Fuaga, who might be your best offensive lineman at right tackle, you're playing Asim Richards. Instead of your former first-round pick, Trevor Penning, who stinks, at left guard, you had Dylan Raduns in there. After Olave at receiver, you had Devon Vele and Dante Pettis as your receivers. You have nothing there offensively. You have no playmakers, no skill, no opportunity for anyone to go make a play. I'm watching Sunday Night Football, and I'm watching dudes make plays tumbling on their heads. I'm watching Devontae Smith of the Eagles with a jump ball dude with a hand on his face mask, catching a ball, falling on his neck, tumbling over, and coming down with the ball. Like, that's what you have to have when you have a true number one. The Saints don't have it. And a lot of people are asking the question about Kellen Moore. Does he deserve blame? Yes. Yes, Kellen Moore deserves blame. Are you kidding me? I'm not delusional here. I know what this team is, and I've said it from the beginning of the season. I'm not going to sit here and complain about wins and losses because I did not expect this team to win games. But you also can't finish drives. You didn't score a touchdown. You had 3 drives in the red zone that ended with no points. 3 drives in the red zone that ended with a total of 3 points. You had drives of 15, 13 plays. You won the time of possession in this ball game 32-51, so 33 minutes to 27 minutes. In the second half, it was astonishing. Atlanta ran 3 plays in the third quarter. You had a 15-play drive with no points. You forced a 3-and-out. Then you had your next 15-play drive subsequent. Yes, Kellen Moore deserves blame for this. He deserves blame for running Taysom Hill out there in goal-to-go situations instead of letting Tyler Shuck try to get your offense into the end zone. Yes, Kellen Moore deserves blame for this. And the offense is so bad that it's distracting from your defense, which is 22nd in the NFL in scoring defense. Everything on this team is bad. The Saints and the Titans are the only 2 teams in the NFL. Hat tip Jeff Duncan, by the way. I saw this on his Twitter. The Saints and the Titans are the only teams in the NFL that have not scored 26 points. The Saints and the Titans. We can all agree the Titans are terrible. Well, so are you. And yes, you blame Mickey Loomis for this, because all of the draft capital that he has spent, he has wasted. Cesar Ruiz is awful. He is arguably the worst starting guard in the NFL. Chris Olave is not a number 1. You took him in the top half of round 1. He is at best a mid-tier number 2 wide receiver. You wasted a first-round pick on Trevor Penning, which became he turned a first-rounder into a 6th-rounder. Congratulations, Mick. You traded a 4 for Devon Vele, who was a 7. So he turned a 4 into a 7. And by the way, Devon Vele has 9 catches on the season. Awesome job. Great evaluation. Sean Payton took you to the cleaners, Mick, because you're awful at your job. Brian Brzee was a first-rounder. He's invisible. Sugarwater McKinstry stinks. Isaiah Foskey was a second-round pick, cut, not even on the team. I mean, this is my problem. My hope is that we see enough of Tyler Shuck over the next 6 games to where we can go, okay, you have a starting caliber NFL quarterback there. Like, it's in him. But the realist in me realizes that even if you feel like you see that in Shuck, I have no reason to believe that Gumsmack and Mick is the guy that's going to be able to appropriately use your draft capital and cap space to build a winning team around Tyler Shuck. Because we continue to see him waste draft picks and make bad signings in free agency. I mean, he's the guy that got you into the terrible cap situation. He's the guy who signed Derek Carr and then doubled down on him. It's just, there's no reason to believe the guy that got you into this mess is going to be the one to dig you out of it. And Grandma Gale doesn't seem to want to fix it. So we'll just keep on watching. Saints might stumble their way into a couple of more wins because you play some bad teams. And Shuck has done some nice things. You're at Miami this week. You still get to play the aforementioned Titans. You get a game at home against the Carolina Panthers, who you already beat. You get to play the Jets as well. So you've got some games where you can stumble into a few more wins and maybe push to 4 or 5 wins this season. We'll see how it goes. But whatever the win-loss record says at this point is irrelevant. It's more about what we've hoped to see throughout the years. Do you see anything that you can build around? And I don't know that I do. And that's the most, being 2-9 is not the most disappointing part of this season. The most disappointing part of this season is not seeing anything of merit with your young talent that you could say those are cornerstone players you can build around. That's the bigger concern of this. Hopefully over the next 6 games, we could start to see some of that develop. But Sunday was an absolute disaster, a disaster in the Superdome where the New Orleans Saints scored 3 offensive points against a 3-win Atlanta Falcons team. Just gross. All right, it's After Further Review. We're here live from Marucci's Hitter's House. Remember, their warehouse sales coming up November the 28th through December the 14th. Deeply discounted deals. And take advantage of the bat trade-in deal happening now. Bring any aluminum or composite bat, and you can get discounts on Marucci and Victus bats. Bring in a competitor's bat, you get 40% off. Bring in a Marucci or Victus bat, you get 20% off. That excludes broken or cracked bats. But any old aluminum or composite bat you have, bring it in. You can trade in and trade up right here at Marucci's Hitter's House, the official bat of Major League Baseball, right here on Segan. Y'all come see us today. Come get your shopping started for Christmas. Your Black Friday deals are starting this Friday. And anybody that walks in the door while we're here, I got all these Marucci hats here on the table. They'll let me sling them like Mardi Gras throws. So come get your free hat if you walk in here while we're on the show until 6 p.m. All right, it's After Further Review. Our Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We will go around the SEC. Some coaching carousel news that I want to get to here in just a smidge. Muse, Paulie, and I will get to what we learned. Peter Burns, 30 minutes from right now. We got to get to the Lane Kiffin stuff, as Lane was had his press conference today, met with reporters. He was peppered with questions about his future that he didn't want to answer, but we'll give you the latest on all of that. So stick with us here. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. If you are thinking about selling your home, you need to call Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. And I give the website, I want you to try this if you haven't done it yet. And every time I mention it, the website explodes and gets flooded. But it's an awesome feature on Darren's website, agent225.com. Go to the website. If you want to find out what your home is worth, like if you haven't had your home appraised in a while, Darren has a home value tool on the homepage of his website. So go to the desktop or mobile. If you're on mobile, just scroll down. If you're on desktop, it's bottom right. It says home value. Just type in your address, and boom, in seconds, it'll pop up, tell you using local market data what your home is worth. It's at agent225.com, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After Further Review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
When Keith released a statement on Friday saying that you, him, and Chancellor Boyce had a meeting about your future, are you able to elaborate on the nature of that meeting at all?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, very fair question, but we're not answering anything that doesn't have to do with the game and the team and the season. But fair question.
I love how polite Lane is. Just reminding, it's a fair question. It's a fair question that you would ask me about the athletic director releasing a statement about my future with this program that I refuse to talk about. That's a fair question. Good on you, Lane, for not crushing the reporter, for asking a completely appropriate question. I do want to follow up on that. We're here at Marucci's Hitter's House on Segan. Y'all come. As I mentioned, if you come by, you get a hat. My guy over here wanted blue. I told you, Delandra, you getting some video? I told you, you come here, I'm slinging them like Mardi Gras throws. I hope I don't hit the camera. There we go. Look at your guy here, man. I got pretty good accuracy, yeah? pretty good. All right. Y'all come hang out with us here at Marucci's Hitter's House, the official bat of Major League Baseball. If you can't make it today, just remember, starting Friday, that's Black Friday, November the 28th through December 14th, is their warehouse sale. That's 5817. That's the warehouse back behind Hitter's House. Deep discounts on everything. Biggest sale of the year, so gear up with big bats, big discounts on bats, gear, apparel, before everything's gone. So you're shopping for Christmas, for the holidays, early. Come by Marucci's Hitter's House this week. All right. We're going to go around the SEC in just a quick second. Everyone's asking about Lane Kiffin. I get it. When last we spoke, we were here on Friday, and we reacted to the statement that Keith Carter put out, and I don't know that anything that I have heard to this point has caused me to change or reconsider my feelings. What I told you on Friday, which is I think the expectation around LSU is that they're going to play the Egg Bowl on Friday. On Saturday, per Keith Carter's statement, they'll announce Lane Kiffin is not going to coach this team through the playoff because, as I've said here for a week and a half now, certainly since last Monday when Layla Kiffin was in town, that they are not going to let him coach the playoff if he's leaving. And it's very clear at this point that he is leaving. However, without anything binding, and there is nothing signed that is binding, then you could always have something happen. Lane Kiffin could have some change of heart and stay. He could... Florida could jump back in the mix and make some type of offer that blows him away and makes him reconsider. Maybe all the rumblings. Desmond Howard talked about Steve Sarkisian, about Texas possibly coming open. What if Texas gets run by Texas A&M this weekend, and the super rich people with more money than God decide they're going to blow Steve Sarkisian out to make a run at Lane Kiffin? People have talked about Kalen DeBoer. What if the Penn State interest is real? I have no idea, by the way, about the validity of that. But what if the Penn State interest in Kalen DeBoer is legitimate, and Bama loses the Iron Bowl to Auburn, and then DeBoer says, you know what, forget it, I'm taking the Penn State job, and then Bama comes open, and they want to go after Kiffin. That's the point that I have made, will continue to make, is Lane Kiffin could have even at this point given LSU a verbal commitment that he's coming. And that wouldn't surprise me if that's happened, by the way. And I understand why LSU powers that be are very confident, based on every bit of information I have from LSU, from Ole Miss, from people who are in the agent world and nationally. I mean, there's the only people on earth who think that Florida's got a shot are people who cover Florida, which is mind-boggling, and I'll continue to maintain. I think they're about a week to 10 days behind the news cycle, which we'll be able to talk about more whenever all this is all done completely, whatever the decision may be. But until it's done, it's not done. And you only have to look at what happened in 2016. We're watching LSU Texas A&M on Thanksgiving night on the crawl there at the bottom of the screen. Man, Tom Herman's going to be the LSU coach. 36 hours later, Ed Ogeron's at the podium. Until it is done, signed, ink dry, it's not done. So hold your breath, hope that you get through the Egg Bowl, and then on Saturday, hopefully, LSU's announcing Lane Kiffin as their new head coach. But you got to get there. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Hey, y'all, of course, Thanksgiving is Thursday. Rouse's has everything you need for Thanksgiving, not only your turkeys, your hams. Remember, buy a ham, get a turkey. You can go to the website, Rouse's.com, see all the details on that great promotion. Buy a ham, get a turkey. They're helping you take care of your Thanksgiving dinner affordably over at Rouse's. All the sides, and of course, your wines, your bourbons, your beers, everything you need at Rouse's. Your sweets, you want to get from their bakery, their pumpkin pies, their sweet potato pies, their pecan pies. They have it all for you at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Let Rouse's help you take care of Thanksgiving. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. All right, we are here at Marucci's Hitter's House on Segan. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We do it every day about this time, but right now, Musa. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn quarterback Ashton Daniels is set to reassume his starting role against Alabama in the Iron Bowl. DJ Durkin confirming that on Monday. Daniels sat out last week against Mercer in a mutual decision so he could retain his red shirt. Alabama would be his fourth game of the season. Although Deuce Knight balled out against Mercer, 6 touchdowns, Durkin did not rule out a role for him against Alabama on Saturday as well.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia Reserve offensive lineman Ayer Daniels was arrested on Sunday on 13 criminal charges, including 4 felonies and 9 misdemeanors. Included in the felonies are 2 counts of cruelty to children. Kirby Smart on Monday confirmed that Daniels is no longer with the Georgia football program. Again, redshirt freshman from New Jersey after arrested on 13 charges, no longer with Georgia.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Oklahoma has flipped a 4-star running back from Texas A&M. That is Jonathan Hatton Jr. He actually committed to Oklahoma, then flipped to A&M, and now is back with the Sooners. The 22nd commit for Oklahoma's 2026 class, the 74th overall commit in the 2026 class, a top 10 player out of the state of Texas, according to the industry rankings.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss has flipped a 2026 cornerback from Arkansas. That would be Victor Lincoln Jr., committed to Arkansas back in June. 3-star prospect, visited Oxford for the win over Florida. Out of Duncanville, Texas, number 68 cornerback in the cycle, number 118th overall prospect out of Texas.
The Texas Longhorns.
And then speaking of Texas, the Texas Longhorns flipped a 3-star running back, Jet Walker, from Minnesota. Can you tell signing day is nearing? 6'2", 215 pounds, number 737 overall player in the composite. Rivals first to report on his commit, had been committed to Minnesota since November the 3rd, but now we'll head to Austin. That's around the SEC.
We're here at Marucci's Hitter's House, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. Y'all come on by. People walking through, I told you we got free Marucci hats. They loaded me up. So you walk in the door, you heard about it here on the show, you come here to Marucci's Hitter's House on Segan, and boom, I'll sling you a hat. So come hang out with us here and shop, man. They got bats and apparel and everything. We're excited to be here today, and it's everything. Marucci, Victus, Lizard Skin, man, they are rolling over here. Marucci, the official bats of Major League Baseball. 2 other quick coaching notes. Art Briles is back in the game. He's been hired by a Division II program. Of course, hasn't coached since the scandal at Baylor. I'm a bit torn on it because, I kind of subscribe to the belief that whenever you commit certain transgressions, I'm not saying your life needs to be over, but your opportunity to work with young people probably should. And that certainly applies to Art Briles. But the other part of it is you serve your suspension, your time, whatever the case may be, appropriately, and then you're allowed to be rehired again or however that may work. And it's up to an individual university, school, athletic department to make that decision. And so Art Briles is back in the game. Maybe of greater consequence nationally is Florida State's decision to retain Mike Norvell. So they made that announcement over the weekend. 2 years ago seems like a lifetime ago, where Florida State was undefeated. Jordan Travis suffered that awful injury. We know how that season ended. They were excluded from the playoff. They got blown out by Georgia in a bowl game when everybody opted out. Last year was just a disaster at 2-10, and this year started so promising with their emphatic win over Alabama, but it just hasn't gotten better for Florida State this year. So, but Florida State at 5-6, they've committed to Mike Norvell. Again, they were 2-10 a year ago, so 5-6. They'll play a pillow fight against Florida this weekend. But it's interesting to watch. I mean, you could look at it 2 ways. I mean, you're sub 500 right now with only an opportunity to finish at 500. But that's a dramatic increase from 2-10 a year ago. You're already 3 games better than you were a season ago, with the possibility of going 4 games better than you were a season ago. So Florida State sticking by Mike Norvell, which means that's one other premier job that will not come open in this cycle. All right, it is After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows Door Siding, they do shutters too. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. We'll knock out a break. Come back, wrap up hour number 1. We'll do what we learned every Thursday. Muse, Paulie, and I tell you 3 things we're watching on the football weekend. We come back, talk about it. We call it what we learned. We'll do that next on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery, especially this time of year, because at Clegg's Nursery, they have completely flipped. They've turned the page to Christmas. The Christmas tree lots are set up. They've got all the poinsettias as well. The poinsettia open house is coming up next weekend. This weekend, I should say. It is time to start decorating for Christmas, and there's no better place in Baton Rouge than Clegg's. Any of the 4 locations. Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. I tell you every single day to buy local, shop local. I love their selection. The family scone will be at Clegg's on Siegen Friday morning. It's our Black Friday tradition where we have Thanksgiving, we sleep it off, and then we wake up on Black Friday, we go get our tree, and then Erica turns our house into the North Pole. So excited for it. Make sure you get on by and see our friends. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
Wrapping up hour number 1. We're glad you're with us here, presented by Relief Windows, and we are live at Marucci's Hitter's House on Siegen. You can't miss us. Come on by, and if you're near Airline, you see the big Marucci sign out front. Marucci, great Baton Rouge company, the official bat of Major League Baseball. Y'all come shop. We're in the retail portion of Marucci's Hitter's House. They got the batting cages behind us. Remember, they've got memberships. You can come just hit by the hour. If you want, you can hit by the session. There are memberships where you have your own private access to cages, to bullpens. Awesome spot here, man. If your son or daughter plays baseball or softball and you've not been in Marucci's Hitter's House yet, you've got to come rediscover Marucci at Marucci's Hitter's House. Come on by. All right, it is After Further Review. Every Thursday, Muse, Paulie, and I tell you 3 things we're watching during the football weekend, and then we come back on Monday, tell you how it went. We call it what we learned. Hit it, Muse.
We watched. Let's review. Let's review.
All right, I'm going to start it here. We were watching BYU in Cincinnati, see if the Bearcats could play spoiler for BYU. They couldn't. It wasn't a very entertaining game, to be honest with you. BYU's defense pretty dominant, forced a couple turnovers, held Cincinnati to 7 points until a garbage time touchdown late in the fourth quarter. They got the win. They're 7-1 in the Big 12 and 10-1 overall.
I was watching Mizzou and Oklahoma. Oklahoma gets the win 17-6. They move one step closer to potential playoff berth. John Mateer was 14 of 30 for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bo Beulah did play in this game after he was been listed as doubtful earlier in the week. Oklahoma wraps up their season next week against LSU.
So keeping an eye on ACC chaos, because a big part of what we've talked about is the ACC is not guaranteed a playoff spot. The assumption has always been that the Power 4 champions would get in as the highest ranked conference champions. However, that may not be the case because while Miami's the best team in the ACC, they're not guaranteed a spot in the postseason. Well, they took a big step this weekend because Pitt walloped Georgia Tech 42-28. SMU did beat Louisville, though, to advance to 6-1. Miami took care of business against Virginia Tech. So as we keep an eye on the ACC standings, the ACC needs Miami in that conference championship game. But as it stands right now, Virginia, Pitt, SMU, Georgia Tech, all ahead of Miami in the conference standings. So still work to do, but Miami took care of business that they needed to on Saturday against Virginia Tech.
Keeping an eye on the Chiefs and Colts. This is a big game for the Chiefs for their playoff hopes. They got it, but man, I think the takeaway is the Colts blew this game and the Chiefs didn't really win it. Chiefs were horrible in the red zone all day, 1 out of 6. They could not get out of their way, turned it over twice. They weren't very good on third down, but in the end, the Colts couldn't hold a 20-9 lead. Give the Chiefs credit, 11 in the fourth quarter to tie it, and then 3 in overtime to win it. They're 6-5 and still alive.
Patriots, Bengals. The return of Joe Burrow will have to wait at least another week. After getting first-team reps in practice last week, the Bengals decided to start Joe Flacco against the Patriots. The Patriots would get the win 26-20. They become the first team in the NFL this season with 10 wins. They also won their 9th in a row. Will Campbell did go down with a knee injury. Mike Vrabel says he does expect him to miss time, but he does not think it'll be season-ending.
We reminded you that Southern Cal was still very much in play for a playoff berth with 2 games remaining. They had to beat Oregon and then UCLA. Well, that didn't happen. Double-digit loss in Eugene. College game day was there. Oregon plods on toward a college football playoff berth. USC, for all intents and purposes, they're out.
Tulane, would they be distracted with all the John Summerall news? Man, they got to hold serve. They're the highest-ranked Group of 5 team. Boy, did they. They went up to sleepy old Temple and blasted the Owls 37-13. They were up 20-7 at the break. Never really looked back. And it wasn't a great offensive performance, but that defense for John Summerall's group was awesome. Tulane still in the driver's seat for the Group of 5.
Browns and Raiders. Shadur Sanders making his first NFL start. He got the win, 24-10 over the Raiders. Sanders went 11 for 20 for 209 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Dion wasn't in the building supporting his son. He will get another shot this week as the Browns have already named him the starter against the 49ers after Dylan Gabriel has cleared concussion protocol.
And finally, we were keeping an eye on Detroit, not necessarily just the result, but more importantly, the offense. Remember, Dan Campbell took over play calling duties. They were embarrassed last weekend in prime time. They managed to rally past the Jameis Winston-led New York Football Giants for a 34-27 overtime win. Jared Goff with 279 and 2 tuds. Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 tuds on the day, as well as the Lions do bounce back. They're 7-4 on the season, but man, the Rams certainly look like the class of the NFC right now. All right, there you have it. That is what we learned from the football weekend. We are brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, WilliamsonEye.com. I mentioned I was at Tiger Stadium this weekend. It's the first time I've been to a game in Tiger Stadium since 2017. It's been 8 years. Just whiskey and wine and all post-game responsibilities. I haven't been able to be in Tiger Stadium. But sitting up in the press box, one of the things that was so revealing is LASIK better than 2020 vision. I see 2015, which you don't realize that's possible, but it is. See better than 2020. I can see everything throughout the stadium. I can see jersey numbers on the field. I can see everything on the video boards all over. It's an incredible experience there in Tiger Stadium to be able to see everything without contacts or glasses. You can do the same. Call 924-2020, 924-2020. If you have HSA or FSA funds, don't let them expire. The Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, y'all, it is after further review. We're going to get to Peter Burns here coming up in about 20 minutes from right now. He had to bump about 15 minutes. So there is some news with the New Orleans Saints as Blake Gruby's days are numbered. We'll get to that as we continue here on AFR from Marucci's Hitter's House.
AFR.
Put a button here in hour number 1. Remind you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. Hey, as we move toward the end of the year and toward the holidays, maybe you're thinking about buying a vehicle before the end of the year. Maybe you're buying a vehicle for a Christmas gift. The big red bow on top. You can do that. South Point Volkswagen can help. And this is a great time right now because Sign Then Drive is going on. And Sign Then Drive is the best deals of the year. 0 down, 0 due at signing, no first month's payment, no security deposit. With little else, you sign your name and you're driving away in a brand new Volkswagen from South Point Volkswagen. You want to check out their inventory? You can check it out online. If it's on the lot, it's online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. And you can always just drive by and see them. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Airline just north of Highland. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?